Uh, all right, welcome everybody for our second ever new Neumi team call. We've got some people trying to get in. Something happened with Zoom. Jerry Shaw, I really appreciate your time getting on this. This is going to be a regular, consistent call we're going to have right before the corporate members update. And Michelle, if you could turn off your audio. Um, so we're trying to get Bob Steelage in. We're having a little technical difficulty, but we want to get this rolling because Jerry has a very important date with his wife Annie out there in Oklahoma. I know he's cooking up, smelling that curry cooking right now.
I'm smelling it. It smells good.
Well, Jerry, guys, we've been friends. Same with Bob, that's trying to get on for over 20 years. We had great success, and I'm excited because I was living in Atlantic City, near Atlantic City at the time, and I'm going back there this month to see my girls, my Y. They were, I think, 7 and 9 at the time, and now they're 28 and 30. So this Neumi business has really provided me a chance to travel like that again, and do it. And also having adult girls, they like nice dinners too, but I don't cook. We're gonna go see a nice concert on Billy Striggs too. He's a new Nashville guitarist. But anyways, I'm digressing here because it's just so fun to just hang out with you. I love this. We got Bob Spiro on the line too. We've got Michelle Moore, and we've got several other people. And somebody's audio is on that needs to mute. How do I do that? All right, Michelle, mute your call. Hold on, I don't know how to mute him, Jerry.
I can mute.
Yeah, under the list of people.
I gotta mute. I got it
at the bottom.
Okay, I got it. I got to the side there. All right, now we're in charge. Well, Jerry, I know we're taking up too much time. Tell us why. What is it about Neumi that got you so interested and you've had some great success here. You're pushing for crown, which is 500,000 points in your group. That's pretty amazing, and it's point for point, dollar for dollar. So go ahead, Jerry. I'm turning it over to you.
Okay, Chris.
We gotta mute that 480 number though.
Yeah, there it goes. I think.
Whoever's on 480-991-5990, please mute. I'll just boot him.
Well, there's no mute button.
There it is. There it is. I got it. Sorry about that. I think that's Tori. Hi, Tori. All right, go ahead, Jerry.
All right. Well, Chris, I'm really happy to be here. We do go back a long ways. And I remember the very first time I met you, you came to a meeting I was doing, and it was for a company that had a kind of a sketchy owner, and you kind of helped scare me off of it. So I appreciate that, man. You saved me some time and trouble. So we're in an industry that you do have to be careful. And, I've learned a lot of hard lessons along the way. But I tell you what, when I'd heard of Stephen Scott back in 2006, because he was with Max International, and I had some friends of mine that wanted to recruit me there. And I looked at his accolades, and there was a list of things that he had done in his life. And I was like, wow, blown away. And I saw somebody that had super high integrity. And if I wasn't doing really well at the time, because I was with a company that Chris and I worked together and we did extremely well, I would have taken a good serious look at Max because Stephen Scott was connected with it. Well, when I heard that he was a part of a new company, and then I found out it was a breakthrough in glutathione application so that you could deliver it and it could be utilized much more efficiently. All the light bulbs went off because back in 1985, I'd graduated from chiropractic school in 1980. So I'd already been in practice, 5 years. And I'd known about glutathione from school, from physiology. There in Guyton's physiology, it explains that it's an endogenous antioxidant along with catalase and superoxide dismutase. But glutathione was the main one. That's all I knew. But in 1985, I saw a study, and it was a time when we were finding a lot of liver complications in people. And I tell you, it hasn't got any better, way worse today than it was in 1985, exponentially. The reason is the liver overworks because of toxins and toxicity and the air, food, and water and all of this. It's not like it's the same every year, all of these assaults on our body, all of these toxins, they tend to concentrate in the environment. So once industry starts using a particular substance, it will concentrate as it, goes into the air and it gets into the soils, and then it gets into the food, and then it gets washed into the ocean, and then the whole cycle starts again. And every time it concentrates a little more. So we're dealing with higher levels of toxins today than we were in 1985. And yet back then we were finding people that had compromised livers consistently, and compromised gut, and the gut and liver go together. And between those two, you can go, I would say 90% of the conditions we deal with in the world today, from cardiovascular to metabolic disorders like diabetes, various cancers, autoimmune diseases, other inflammatory diseases, arthritis, etc. You can track it back to liver and gut. And the reason is that the gut is the interface where our body absorbs the food or gets rid of things. But the gut can become leaky when too many toxins and too many things have damaged the walls. Now you end up with all these things in the blood, these macromolecules. Where do they end up? The liver. The liver has to filter them out and break them down. And in many cases, the second line of defense, first line is the barrier. That would be the gut in that case, or the skin. But the gut in that case, barriers first line, second line's the macrophages. Those are the things that gobble up all of those things that are in our blood, whether they're bacteria, viruses, or just big chunks of undigested food. Those end up in the liver as well, called antigen antibody complexes. So the liver overworks. And anytime the liver is overworking, it starts stressing out. It has, back then we used to say 300 known functions medically, but we found a lot more in the past 40 years. Now we know 500 known functions, and it's everything to do with the blood. It's not only getting the sugars right, because it helps to store the sugar as glycogen, and then when you need more sugar, it breaks it down into glucose. So it's a modulator of sugar. It gets lipids right. You go in and get your blood tests, and you have the triglycerides or the HDLs and the LDLs and all of these things, and some might be out of balance. That's the liver's job. Or they say you got to be on a blood thinner because the viscosity is wrong. It's the liver's job to get the viscosity right, the clotting factors and the proper viscosity. It's the liver's job to get the precursors for things like hormones and enzymes and metabolic factors and immune factors. All of those macrophages that are gobbling things up, those start in the liver. In addition to the even T cells, B cells, all of those precursors, it's the liver that sets the stage for all of these things. So you really want your liver working well. Plus, you look around today, even in 1985, but it's gotten worse, people tend to carry extra pounds. And the reason, especially around the belly, the reason people carry extra pounds, and no matter how they diet, they can't get it off, is the fact that toxins are stored in the cells. And anytime the liver is unable to process those toxins, break them down and get rid of them, then signaling molecules are sent by the brain. We have to store. We have to store these toxins. And where do they store? Primarily, I'd say 98% stored in fat cells. So the body does not want to let go of the fat cells, reduce the fat cells. That's the storage for those toxins that is waiting to process, that never happens because the liver never catches up. So the liver has 1,000 times more glutathione than other cells in our bodies because it's so critical for liver function. So think about this. As the liver is stressed out because it has to process more and more toxins, etc., now as we get older, starting at age 20, you start getting less and less and less available glutathione because your body's not able to produce it as efficiently as it can when you're in your teens, and stops about 20 years old and it starts reducing. So all of these factors that accumulate in our life that we have to deal with constantly, now we have less of a mechanism inside of us to help us deal with that. So in 1985, we realized how important glutathione was for the human body. for the liver, for the gut even. So, okay, we need to get more glutathione into our bodies. How do we do it? And it was so difficult. There are certain foods that were like broccoli sprouts, which are very temperamental. They can kind of go off and smell really bad. And, and that's precursor. That deals with precursors. Then there's cysteine. You try to get cysteine because that's called the rate limiting factor. That's the one amino acid, the L-cysteine. Of course, there's the glutamate, glutamic acid, and glycine. That all of those come together to form glutathione. But the one that is typically deficient is the L-cysteine. So we would supplement that. But the L-cysteine is not efficient getting through the digestive tract because it has a hydroxyl aspect that gets broken when it hits the stomach acids. You can't take glutathione. You can go to the store and you can see glutathione supplements, or you can go online and see a glutathione supplement and you take that in your mouth. Guarantee you might actually get 1% because the stomach is so acid, it breaks that glutathione, it breaks that hydroxyl component, and it becomes useless. So another thing that happens is that anytime you break that, it maybe the glycine and the glutamate and the L-cysteine, somehow make it through. The L-cysteine not likely, but the glutamate and the glycine. Well, there are instances that too much glutamate, it's a brain inflammatory agent. That's not good, which also can happen with IV administration because they deliver a lot of from 500 to 1500 milligrams of glutathione in that intravenous session. And it's a real backwards approach because it actually all breaks down in the blood and in the liver. So you end up with glutamate, glycine, and L-cysteine, too much of it. So now the body's got to get rid of it. So now you're stressing the body out, and yeah, you get some of it into the cell, and some of it helps once it's in the cytoplasm of the cell, it gets turned into glutathione. Maybe the body still has to manufacture it. Sometimes genes are turned off that are not allowing that process to happen. There's a whole series of reactions that need to happen. So the beautiful thing about Neumi, and once I saw this and got my head around it, and as I said, the light bulbs all went off. We deliver glutathione into the cell intact. No one else does that. Not even intravenous can do that. So now you have locked and loaded into the cell, swish in the mouth. It's nanosized so small it absorbs into the blood and gets into the cells within 70 seconds. And even if the genes are turned off, because the body has glutathione now, and glutathione supports cell function and starts cleaning up the genes, it can help turn on those genes. So now the L-cysteine that's delivered with the nanoglutathione, and it's also nano, so it gets into the cells. Now the body can start taking that and producing more of its own glutathione, and that process can begin to more naturally happen inside the cell and produce more of it. So it's really an interesting mechanism that we're helping the body with that instant use, the ability to get glutathione into the cell to instantly support all of those mechanisms in the cell. And yet it helps stimulate the body's own production as well and support it. So it's really a double-pronged sword. And the thing about glutathione, again, supports all cells. 1,000 times more important for the liver, but brain, gut, other organs, kidneys, spleen, lungs, heart, all of these things require lots of glutathione. Plus, it's the master protector of all of our cells, the master antioxidant.
Yeah.
Steve Scott goes into depth on how valuable it is there. More important by thousands of times than any other antioxidant. So we need it. Now we have access to it, and it's a great thing, and I'm super happy about it. So
I'm trying to be nice to Annie because I know I'm watching.
I'm really close to my.
I know. I really appreciate. I appreciate Annie because I know she puts up with a lot from you. being
She
so
does put up
good.
with a lot, yeah.
And you're lucky to have her in your life. And
Yeah,
so
thank you.
anyhow, but I wanted to just say, I didn't know much about glutathione. I heard about it. Like you said, we were so absorbed in the goji berry and all that, but we did see Mac, we did see that company do some big, things around the world. We were in that same kind of nutrition space. So anyhow, but I didn't know much about glutathione, and the one thing that really caught me was that if you talk about how oxygen needs glutathione to glue itself to blood. When I heard that, I was like, wow. And then when you got it, I got my first bottle of it. I was working 5 to 6 hours outside in the field, getting ready. I was mixing cement and everything, and I was going 7 to 8 hours, and telling myself I needed to go in. I mean, I never had anything like that happen with a nutritional product for you. And then I wasn't taking Epsom salt baths in the morning. I know Bob Spiro's got a great testimonial. Michelle Moore's got a good testimonial. Jerry, is there anything? We'll let you go. Excuse me, because we are recording this. We do need to say we don't heal or mitigate or any diseases. We are going to record this, and I don't think you got out of line there. But so people, what's that disclaimer that we need to say?
Yeah, we don't treat, heal, or mitigate disease, but what we can say is it supports function. But that's just because we live in a world that is highly regulated, and we have to be careful because we don't want them to take it away from us.
Yeah, and people, I've never seen a product. People get so missionary about it.
Right.
Just without any kind of business aspect. I mean, we're not really touching on the business, but here, but I told you when I got, you called me, I just want to have fun. I'm not, I don't have to, depend on this to pay the mortgage. Thank God at this stage of my life, unlike when, we first met. But it's just a mission of, the change in people's life. Bob Steenledge, who's been struggling to get on, we had tech difficulties, but isn't that wonderful? He's just getting nominated for West Point alumni in wrestling. And I know your dad's a big wrestler, and you are a wrestler. So we're just so proud to be that Michelle's part of Bob's team. So is Bob Spiro here. So I don't know, Jerry, you want to look over? You want to hear Bob and Michelle share their little quick story real quick? Bob, you got to run.
I promised Annie it would be the
All right,
half
so
hour because
you're gonna come
there at 6.
All right, we'll let you go because I'll try to hang on to you. But so we'll bring it back next week if that's
right. That sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Have a nice night. We're gonna do our testimony.
You too. All right. God bless.
All right. God bless you, Jerry. Thank you for sharing this with us. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't know about it. All right. So Bob Spiro, let's actually beauty before age. Michelle Moore, would you like to share your would you like to share your testimony? I think you're muted. Did I mute you? I might have muted you. No, you might need to unmute if you want to talk. I think Bob's ready to go. Okay, there's Michelle. Do you want to share your your experience with the product and say hi to your group here? Because it's you got a great team going. We're so proud of you.
Judy and Margaret and too, they can share too.
Okay, good.
And see, this is why they're coming out to work on my internet.
Turn your video off. That might be better. Okay.
But at any rate, normally I'm 84. I don't take any medications. Basically, what I do keeps me from being sick and not having to be on medication. But in this case, a few weeks before, and Bob Steenledge had introduced me to Limbic Arc, and he called me and really disrupted my focus with Neumi. And one of the reasons I was really willing to look at it was because just for a few weeks, all of a sudden my knee had given me a problem. I mean, it was really painful and brought me to a standstill. And I took when it came in the mail, I took it at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, took it again before at midnight when I went to bed. And the next morning, the pain was gone. And I just normally don't have anything wrong with me that I have a testimony. So I had a wonderful testimony this time. And now the inflammation is gone. I don't have that issue. I didn't have it for 30 years. And I had a really bad inflammation in my knees when I was 54 for a short period of time and got rid of it. And so I'm back. I mean, my knees just don't bother me at all, which is great. And but I'm noticing small things happening. I have 4 or 5 other things. And my husband, he was stopped breathing, and now he's not stopped breathing at night. His energy is higher. His brain is much more focused and clear. And I'm just thrilled with it. I've gotten more response from this than anything I've done for decades.
Wonderful.
So back.
Yeah, and we'll see you on the One Star training this weekend. It's fun. Michelle and I are doing that. All right, so Bob, thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much for sharing with us. It's just such a consistent, telling our people what's going on, and you got a great group going. So we're proud of you here, Michelle.
I'm just middle-aged.
What? Yeah,
Just
tell that joke. That's funny. What do you call it?
I'm middle-aged, and life begins at 80. So I'm just getting started, and I'm going to school.
And then you got the nano, who are the 90s is what's that joke you tell us?
That's right. And Margaret's husband is 90, and he's a nanogenarian. And then, of course, at 100, you have centurion. So, yeah, but I'm an octogenarian.
You're an octogenarian.
And Margaret is an octogenarian. Yeah.
And then the people in the 90s turned into nanogenarians. Nanogenarians. All right, Bob Spiro. Thanks, Michelle. Bob Spiro.
I'm almost 3/4 of a century old, and that'll happen this October. I'm like you, Michelle. I am prescription drug free. I read a book a number of decades ago called Prescription Alternatives, and I've been just following in the pursuit of health and wellness. I prioritized that in front of everything. When I first started Neumi and taking the switch, I noticed that originally a mental clarity. The fog kind of went away. I was thinking clearer. I noticed that I would wake up earlier in the morning, clear and ready to go. But what I really noticed was the endurance, the inner natural type of energy that you have in youth, if you will. And I like to walk and work out and stay active. And I just know that I'm going to get into the best shape that I've been in many, many years because of diet, exercise, nutrition. Now I've got the swish, and I just love taking it. I do it 2 or 3 times a day. I don't need like the afternoon nap. I left the house at 7:30 this morning. I've been on the road all day. I'm back home, and I'm raring to go. It's just an unusually pleasant experience. If you want to be the best that you're able to, you need the physical health, the mental clarity, and the endurance. And our bodies are consistently bombarded with the free radicals and, with diet, with the food, the air we breathe, and just your environment. So this is a great substantial improvement to boost your immune system, which we all desperately need. And it's just a matter of educating people and sharing with them your own personal experience. And I began using the Neumi skin. I won't go into that. I had a little bag on my eye. I was spraying it in, and it's gone. I'm also using it on the back of my hand. I noticed my right hand is looking a lot younger and clearer. And I know my buddy Sean, a wrinkle in his forehead has disappeared. So back to you, Chris. I could go on and on.
No, I know.
I'm really passionate about this product because it can change people's lives.
Yeah, and that's a great testimony. You got a great. We did another one, Bob. You really hit it because it's hard to explain that inner energy because it's not a caffeine-y thing. It's not a this or that. It's like how we should feel, maybe how God intended us to feel. It's really wonderful. I know, Michelle, you wanted to have a couple other people, maybe Margaret share, but I wanted to share one thing just because I do want to do a little training here. It's turned into a big product call because we had Jerry, but
I wanted to know, Chris, could we go through, I don't know the other people that are on the phone numbers. Can they tell us who they are?
I think I muted. They might need to unmute. I think Tori is on one of them, 480. And
Don't
then
be shy. Come on out.
there's a 903 number.
I'm up here in Bristol,
don't-
Rhode Island.
Maybe they could they text it? They're calling in, but maybe they can't text the chat. I'm not sure. Something just came up on my screen
Well,
there.
can't they should be able to just unmute and talk.
I can unmute them. I think I unmute because they didn't know they were. I can ask them to unmute. It says ask them. I'll let Tori
I
ask
don't
them.
know.
All right. So why don't I just? There we go. Who's that? I think that.
Go ahead. Who
Hello,
is that?
can
You
you-
call.
It's
Yes,
Stella.
who- You want to listen in?
Yeah, I can't get on Zoom. It won't connect for me.
Okay, well, they had some issue, but do you want to, you can just listen.
Okay.
Okay,
Who's that? Who's that, Michelle?
this is Mike Hines from Wyoming.
Okay, sorry, Mike. Tell them we got it recorded, so we'll do that. We'll get it straightened out for next week when Jerry will be on again. So, and one thing, I'll just do a little training is if somebody else wants to jump in, we'll have a couple more testimonials. We do have to get off too at 5:45, so we could jump on the member update at Neumi TV. But I just want to share a couple of things to make it easier to share. We're learning this on our one stars. And I know Tori's going to go to a big event in Los Angeles, and we out there, we're talking about it. We can't, even if we could talk as well as Jerry about the benefits of glutathione, we don't want to. I don't want to. I know I don't. I don't want to talk to people, start, turn it into a big long thing. But if you just say, hey, if I send you a video, will you watch it? Remember that. It's so easy. If I send you a video, will you watch it? And then if you're talking to a doctor or someone that is in the wellness space and they're concerned about their health, by the way, do you know anything about glutathione? Why do you ask? Oh, because I'm super excited about this product. It's the results I'm having, my friends are having on. I just wondered if you knew anything about glutathione. And then listen, and just really just simple. And if they say no, say, well, if I had a video, if I send you a video, would you watch it? Do you like a text or an email? Make it pretty simple. And then, and if they do know a bunch about glutathione, oh yeah, I know all about glutathione. I'm a doctor. I've prescribed expensive IVs when people are in a health challenge. So yeah, I know a lot about glutathione. Oh, then you're going to love this. We've got a new breakthrough delivery system, sublingual, nano size 10. If I send you a video, will you watch it? You keep that's, and now Bob Spiro's done great with the app. I mean, the app, one of the things we're learning at the website is just, we're looking for, as far as business builders go, are people committed? Are they teachable? And are they prepared? So to prepare people, that means they've downloaded their app. And if they're not going to use that, they've got something. They're prepared a little bit because they've been on these Zooms and other ones that, we're going to get on one in about 4 minutes here. They're prepared. They're committed. They're teachable. I was going to share you. I'll send the video. I was going to play it in here about the importance of the quarterly pack. Where you can order, the quarterly pack for $300 and you get paid 3 months running. So you save on shipping. You got extra product, so you can have it right on hand to give someone or sell it to them, to sample. And you got it rotating instead, just because if there's no, I mean, one of the oldest things we learned, if there's no merchandise in the wagon, you're pretty much out of business. So I think that what we're learning about that quarterly pack, Michelle, and it ensures that power of three, because sometimes the power of three, to be flat out honest with you, I didn't like it because it's kind of precarious. If one person can't do their 100 this stuff, a whole bunch, and then boom, it falls the thing. But with the quarterly packs, it solves that issue. So I just want to get that out, you guys, because it's going to make a big difference. Is there anyone else you wanted to share a last testimonial? One of the phone.
Margaret, do you want to share?
Yeah,
Or Kitty?
I have a couple of questions actually.
All right, can we hold these questions because we're recording now, and then I'll hang out. I'll turn off the recording because sometimes I don't know where these questions are going. If it's about shipping or this or that. You know what I mean? So I'm just gonna let me turn off the thing. We'll end it, and I'll stick around if you guys want to jump for the I'm gonna stop. Hold on, I'm gonna stop recording here. Are you sure you want to stop recording? Yes.